We've got breaking news. 2 more batches of documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have just been made public. A federal judge has been unsealing thousands of pages of court papers since Wednesday night. And since then, we've learned more details about who Epstein may have been connected to and just what investigators found. NBC News investigative correspondent Tom Winter has been digging into all of it. So, Tom, we're talking about hundreds of pages here. I don't think people realize this is what journalism is: reading, synthesizing, analyzing. You're doing all of that right now in the moment.
Sure.
What have you found in these newest releases?
Yeah, and actually, because of the second batch that came through this afternoon, we're now over 1,000 pages today. And in total, we're approaching 2,000 pages, just to give you a sense of what's been put out there. As I kind of alluded to you last hour, some of this is getting a bit duplicative because there's discussions that are going back and forth, legal arguments that are occurring where they're arguing over the same types of materials. But we do have some new things that are coming out, including a deposition by Juan Alessi. He was kind of the housekeeper, the handyman, the person who ran Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach house. And he was asked actually about whether a number of celebrities and people were there ever at the house that he witnessed personally. And he also talked about the amount of young women that would be inside the house, presumably for massages and some of the activities, very graphic activities that he had to undertake to clean up after some of these massages. But one of the things he was asked is if, and I'm just going to read directly from it. He said, "Now, Mr. Trump," this is one of the attorneys questioning him, "Now, Mr. Trump had a home in Palm Beach, correct?" He said, "Uh-huh. So he didn't come and stay there, being Epstein's house, did he?" "No, never. He would come for a meal. He would come have dinner. He never sat at the table. He eat with me in the kitchen." He was asked, did he ever have any massages while he was there? He said no, because he's got his own spa. So that's another reference to former President Trump, who's apparently would be at the house and have meals in the kitchen, according to the housekeeper, but never saw him have a massage. I think that's a really important point to make. And of course, not the only former president that's been connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Certainly Bill Clinton and his travels on Jeffrey Epstein's jet have been well documented, literally in the documents associated with those flights, as well as Ghislaine Maxwell, his former confidant, appearing at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. And
of course, as these documents continue to come out, I'm sure we're going to see some fallout.
You know, we may or may not. So far, there's no explicit illegal activity that we've seen that's been referenced here involving third parties that we haven't known about, but we'll continue to read through.
We know you'll be on it. Tom Winter, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.